Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me for our final card in this week's Sam Set of the Week, Let's Wonder. This is our funky fold. It is a quick funky fold, so it might not seem like one, but it is. It's got a little difference from opening the card a different way. So rather than it being a full card, we have created this. So let me bring in my supplies. And as a disclaimer already, I have tried this card once before and the video stopped halfway through. So we've got bits of everything. So I'm going to show you how I've done it and then we will create with the other card. So the supplies I have got is a piece of black cardstock that measures 8 inches by 5 3/4, which we will score in a moment. I have a piece of designer series paper which is 6 by 6. I have a white, no I don't, this is Daffodil Delight. No it's not, it's crushed curry. It measures 2.5 by 3 5/8. I have a white piece of card that fits on it, which measures, I will write all the measurements down and they will be on my blog. So this is 2 3/8 by 3.5. I then have another piece of white cardstock which measures 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have a little piece which is 3/4 of an inch by 1 3/4 for the sentiment. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score the black cardstock. And I'm going to pop that in my scorer. And the first thing we're going to score is at the 1.5 inch mark and at the 4 inch mark. Okay, and then we will burnish. Fold it over, do this properly, burnish with the bone folder, and then this one moves back on itself like so. And now we need to create our designer series paper. So this is the paper we're going to use. So I'm just going to show you. So this is as far as I got before the video cut off. So we are going to cut the paper for this. So I'm going to cut it at, now I want it to carry on in strips. I need it to, so the pattern to follow should I say. So I need it to cut down to 5 3/4 in length. Okay, then I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch. So that's 3/4 of an inch, which is all the way up. So that's 1. Then the next piece I'm going to do is 1 1/4. Okay, that's 1 1/4. And then the next piece I'm going to do is 1 1/2. There we go. And then this piece you can use for another card. And then these will get stuck down onto our curve base. So the first one is here. You need to align it to the top and the bottom and have a border either side. And then you've got this one, which does exactly the same. And as you can see, the pattern follows nicely. And then I have another piece, which this time what you're going to do is you're actually going to jut it all the way up to the edge here, to the edge of the card. All right, and then that is how it will look. Right, let's remove that for a second, and I'm going to bring back in the one I was originally working on. So, saving paper. So the next thing I need to do is to, oh here we go, it's going to be one of those days, the bootsy bark. I have a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to stamp the boots in early espresso. I think that's probably why she's barking. She's heard me say the word and she thinks I'm talking to her. So I'm going to tap this in the early espresso and I'm going to bring it over to the right hand side. Let's put it down. Okay, there we go. If they carry on too much, I will pause the video and shoot over and find out what the problem is. Oh dear, dear, dear. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, best wishes, onto my piece of paper. I've checked, there is nobody there. They're just being, they just want to be on the video. I wanted to apologise. Right, so I've got the best wishes and I'm going to stamp it on here. There we go. There we go, so we've got the best wishes. And that comes from the stamp set Simply Said. Now, I have already coloured it in, and a disclaimer is I've already put the sentiment onto the boot like this, but unfortunately it overlapped the boot, and so I didn't really like it. So that is why I have gone for a raised sentiment. So the colours I've used for the boot are Daffodil Delight, because we don't have crushed curry, but it's the dark. I have used the Skin Tone 200, so that's be the very dark one. And I've also used the light Mossy Meadow for the main colour of the boot. I'm then going to mount that onto my cardstock here. There we go. Like so. There are some days where you just think to yourself, do you know what? The day was going really well. And all of a sudden, it's not. Okay, I don't want to stop the video. Reason being is I'm dreading that if I stop the video, it will turn around and stop working like it did to me before. So we're going to buckle down and we're going to do this. Now we've got two options. We can glue on the strip here to keep this down here, or we could do it with dimensionals. Now the previous card is actually stuck. Okay, so it's a choice is yours. What I have done though is I have stuck this section. So it's the flap, this one here that we've burnt over. I've actually glued it down so it sits like so. So there we go. So that's all sitting there. So the decision now is, where do we put it? Can we pop it up there? I would pop it there. I think that works quite well. So I'm going to glue it, and what you need to do is you flip it over, leave it in place, and then you know exactly where to glue. You only want it on that section there, because otherwise it's going to stick to the other pieces. So I'm literally going to hold it and there we go, do that, and then we can turn it back and pop it in place. Perfect. There we are. Lovely. So the only thing we need to do now is to add our inside layer to go on here. Now obviously you could just put your in like that. You could just put the best wishes, or you could, she says, trying to find it, you could stamp your boot or your shoe or whatever shoe you've decided to use. You could stamp it on to there. So let's do that for the moment. There we go. I'm just going to grab a piece of paper from the bin because I don't want it to go onto my background, and then I'm just going to stamp it straight down and then up, because obviously you don't want too much of it on there because it's going to take up all your space from where you want to write your sentiment. Okay, and then that can go onto there. Perfect. And that sits onto there. Make sure it's straight. Perfect. Well, thank you ever so much for joining me for our rowdy Funky Fold Friday. I hope you like that design. please, if you need the measurements, pop over to my website, my blog, and you will find all the measurements there. So let's bring that up and see if I can get it to be in focus so you can actually see what I've been doing. Come on, you can see these boots. Come on, little booties. It's definitely one of those days today, isn't it? No, it's just not gonna. There we go, look at that, we've got it. So there are the beautiful boots, and we need to put the sentiment on. Wow, it is one of those days. I am going to raise that with my dimensionals. So let's just save that and hope for a better week next week. Oh my goodness, do you ever get days like that? Doesn't matter what you do. You know, I got up this morning, I thought it was going to be a really good day, but there we are. I have now put the sentiment on. Oh dear, dear, dear. Anyway, there you go. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Do join me again next week when we will have a brand new stamp set. Whatever you do for the rest of the day, happy crafting, take care, and I look forward to catching up with you very soon. Bye.